Back on the show is Gerald Meerschaert, who's going to be taking on Eric Spicely coming up here at the Ultimate Fighter Season 26 finale on December 1st. Gerald, what's going on? How are you?
I've been great. How have you been?
I'm doing well, and I got to mention to our listeners, it was good to meet you this past summer. We actually got to cross paths in person because you were at UFC 213 for that whole weekend, and I was able to interview you in person. And I wanted to know, that fight was back in July. Here we are in December, coming up to December, I should say. How was the rest of your summer?
It was good. You know, I mean, the fight didn't go the way I wanted to, but I still got to get outside and enjoy myself, and you know, I got no complaints.
Did you go away in at all, or did you just stay in Milwaukee?
I just stayed in Milwaukee, you know, stay helping different guys get ready for fights and stuff like that, and, you know, working on stuff I need to work on. So, but it was still a good time.
Well, that's good. You got some time away. How, you know, you referenced the loss there to Santos. What do you feel like sort of went wrong in that one? You know, in that fight back in July.
There's a couple things that I definitely could have done better. One thing we've been working on a lot is working on moving the feet instead of pulling or staying in the pocket more. You know, it would have lent itself more to my takedowns. And if you go back, and I watched the fight several times, obviously, the takedowns were actually relatively easy for as big of a guy as he was. He was very, very strong in certain spots as far as being explosive and getting up off the floor and getting out from underneath me. But when I grabbed a hold of him for the takedowns, they were almost too easy. And that was another area where I think if I would have been a little more patient and just kind of held him down a little bit and settled into my position instead of opening up for ground and pound right away, it might have gone a little more favorably for me.
And now here you are taking on Eric Spicely. How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
I feel like I match up great. You know, the only thing he does, I do better. So, you know, I've got more submission wins than he does fight, period. And all he does is, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. He can say whatever he wants and say he's working on whatever he wants, but I've watched him fight. He'll come out for maybe 30 seconds and pretend like he wants to, you know, throw down and stand up and trade some strikes. But then as soon as something happens, he's just diving in for legs and trying to get a hold of you.
Yeah, I was looking at that. You've got, if I'm not mistaken, 19 career wins by submission. He's only got 6, but you're right. The majority of his wins are by submission. Do you feel like he's going to try and do that again in this fight, just with the fact that last time he tried to do that against a high-level jiu-jitsu guy and he ended up getting tapped out?
Oh, I know he will. You know, he only can do one thing, and if he tries to do anything else, it's going to suck, and he's going to revert right back to shooting and diving at legs and trying to get a hold of me.
One of the interesting things about your training camp is you're actually training with one of your former opponents in Ryan James, because I just talked to him on Saturday. How was that when he came into the gym and, you know, a guy that you had already defeated in the UFC?
I mean, it's been good so far. He's another good partner. He's a bigger guy, another look. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt, so it helps give me a look for my guy in particular. And, you know, he's fighting one of my opponent's teammates who's a wrestler, and I can kind of give him a look on that end of it. And, you know, it's been great. He's Canadian, so he's like the most polite person ever, so we've had no problems.
Well, you've got 2 Canadians down there, right? Because John McDessie's down there as well, isn't he?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I've never, you know, heard sorry so many times in my life.
Except for Brendan Allen, right? Because Brendan's a pretty polite guy, too.
Yeah, Brendan's pretty good. He came up for maybe a little bit over a week, and got some training in with us. You know, he's another good body to have, and he actually just won
submission thing over the weekend. I saw that.
Another submission challenge, and he won by leg lock. So it was, you know, he came up, was very kind, and gave me some looks for my fight, and that helped out a lot too.
Yeah, that's the one nice thing about your camp is you have a lot of bigger bodies. So if you need to, you know, have training partners and guys like that are, you know, sort of your size, you have the luxury of that, right? Like some camps, you don't get that because, you know, some of the camps are, you know, smaller or really big guys, right? So.
Correct. And I mean, we're known for having the smaller weights, and generally we do have more, you know, lighter guys in the room. But, you know, after training with little guys for a while, you learn how to move and be safe. And like now, just recently, we've been, like you said, getting more big bodies in, and I think it's been helping a lot.
So we mentioned, you know, Ryan James, Brendan Allen. I'm guessing Mike Biggie Rhodes, Cameron Olson, guys like that you've sort of been working with on a regular basis?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The usual cast of characters in my training camp. You know, Bilal just left, I think, a couple days ago, and I've been, you know, obviously working with him too. So Paul's been in town too, and he's one of those in-between guys where he fights at 55, but he's a bigger guy, so I still get some work in with him as well.
Paul Felder, right? That's who you're referring to?
Correct.
Yeah, he did a great job, by the way, on the weekend on the commentary. I don't know if you saw it, but I thought he was a natural on there.
Yeah, no, it sounded really good. Everything was spoken very well. He spoke to the technique enough without, going in too much depth and confusing people, and like still made it a fun night. So I had a great time listening to his commentary.
How's the weight cut going? We're a couple weeks out from the fight.
I mean, it's always easy,
Well, I know. I was going to say, yeah. Just once I'm expecting you to be like, actually, I had some food poisoning. No. But yeah, you always kind of make the weight with these, right? Because you're not a huge 85er.
No, not at all. I mean, I've been cleaning up my diet for sure, and I saw 91 after practice once already, but it's usually around 93, 95. Like I'm not that big of a guy, and I'd rather not kill myself and fight bigger guys than cut a bunch of weight and almost die and fight at 170. Maybe once or twice a year is probably all my body could handle. So I'm much happier doing it this way.
How do you see this fight ending on December 1st? Are we going to see a submission win again here?
God, I hope not. I am over committing. I really just want to knock somebody out. The thing is, though, is I know he's going to shoot, so it's probably going to be a TKO on the ground unless I stuff enough shots and I hurt him on the feet. And then eventually, again, I feel like he's going to shoot and just crumble up, and then I'll TKO him on the ground. It's generally what happens in his fights.
Assuming all goes well in this fight, you come out there healthy, everything's good. When are you looking to fight after this? Do you have a sort of a plan as to when you want to get back in there?
I'm not thinking too much past this one. I'm coming off a loss, so I got to really focus on this. But, another 2-3 months, I'll probably be ready to go again.
What are you watching right now on TV, on Netflix or Hulu, or anything like that?
I've been watching a lot of different documentaries lately and all different kinds of stuff, like history, sports, just all kinds of different things. I
know you watch a lot of the space stuff. Any good space documentaries in there?
There haven't been too many new ones lately. Obviously, the last one I watched, kind of old now, is the remake of Cosmos. But if I find anything, I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, for sure. What is a good documentary that you've watched, though, just out of that genre? Was there one that sort of stuck out to you?
Oh, well, the one that I just mentioned was pretty good. They all kind of have like similar names, like Universe or Cosmos, but Neil deGrasse Tyson usually does a pretty good job. There's another guy, I believe his name is Brian Cox, and I think he's a British professor, and he's got some pretty good ones that are out there. So those would be two to look into.
Okay, I will definitely check those out, and we certainly got to check you out. The Ultimate Fighter 26 finale coming up here December 1st. Gerald, always appreciate you taking the time. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media. If you got any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours, man.
Yep, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you need to know when I'm fighting or where I'm fighting, don't ask me. Just go to UFC.com. They got a whole thing with my profile on it. It's great. I implore you to use it. All my handles and stuff, if you just Google my name, or even close to it, I'm sure you'll find all that stuff. And always, like to thank my gym, Combat Corner, and my whole team.